Hello grade 10s, welcome to another short video on finance. Today we'll be looking at exchange rates. Right, so this is a way or rather a system that different countries use to exchange between the different currencies. So if you are planning on moving from South Africa to the United States, you understand that our currency in South Africa is the South African rand, and their currency in the US is the American dollar, right? So exchange rates are actually the link between these two currencies. Okay, let's explain that using an example. Number one, suppose we are given example number 4 there, which I will treat as the first example. The daily rate at a hotel is $73 per person. How much will two people pay if they stay 1 week at this hotel if the exchange rate of the dollar to the rand is 1 is to 13.29? So the exchange rate of the dollar to the rand, so it means a dollar to the rand is 13.29. Right, returns like always. Let's write down our information. So we have two people. They are planning to stay at a hotel. The hotel charges $73 per day, and these people plan to stay for 1 week. And we understand that a week has exactly 7 days. So if the exchange rate is the dollar to the rand is given as 1 is to 13.29. Right, pardon me with this, 13 rands 29 cents. Right, so we just want to find out that if the person has actually 73, or the person has to pay $73 per day, how much is actually that in our rand? Right, so return an easier and a quick way to convert this would be to start with the exchange rate. So I would also write it with the symbols or with the units. So we know that $1 costs exactly 13 rands 29 cents. Right, so the idea is to write all the information that you have. We are asked how much does $73 cost in rands, or how much is it in rands. So we'll just write the dollars together. So we have $73, and then we wish to know how much that is in rands. So the idea here, always you write down the information that you have, then you write down the missing information below. Then to move from this one to this one, you will divide, and then moving across, you will multiply. And then the answer that we'll get is going to be the answer in South African rands. Right, ladies and gentlemen, so what does that mean? It therefore means that these $73 becomes excuse me, $73 divided by just $1, and then multiplied by 13.29 cents. Right, quick calculation. This gives us 73 times 13 rands and 29 cents, giving us an answer of 970 rands and 17 cents. Right, however, this is for one person, and we know that we have two people that are going to be spending a week there. Therefore, the total cost is therefore going to be this 970 rands and 17 cents times the number of people, which are 2, times the number of days, which are 7 days. Therefore, the total becomes 970 times 2 times 7, giving us a total of 13,582 and 38 cents. So it means these people, if they are planning on going there, they will need to have 13 rands 582 and 38 cents if they decide to spend a week at the hotel in America. Right, easy peasy. Let's look at the second example, greetings. So in the second example now, let's suppose this is our scenario. So in this example, we are now given the following. Right, I just don't know if that is visible enough. So if the exchange rate is €1, right, if the exchange rate is €1 is equals to 16 rands and £1 is equals to 22 rands, calculate the exchange rate between the euro and the pound. Right, quickly, the question we are given, €1 in South African rands, that is 16 rands, as well as £1 British pound. When you bring it back to South Africa, that is exactly 22 rands. So in the previous question, we were just converting from one currency to another. And then in this one, we are converting between two different currencies, but which are linked to the same rand. So in this case, we actually have a currency to our South African rand, a currency to our South African rand. So the aim, let's make our currency, or rather our South African rand, let's see how much it costs to a different currency. So let's start with the first one. What we'll do this side, we'll also do this side. So I'll just take, I'm trying to make sure that I have 1 rand gives me something in terms of euros. So if I want anything to be 1, I divide by that number. So it means I divide by 16. I also divide by 16. Right, this side I will have 16 divided by 16, which gives me a rand exactly. And then 1 divided by 16 is equal to 10. You just go on your calculator and divide by 16. Then you get 0.0625. So it means we'll have 0.0625 being equivalent to 1 rand. So 0.0625 euros give us 1 rand. Same applies, we do the same this side. We divide by 22, we divide by 22. Right, and then we'll have our South African rands simply being a rand. And then we'll have 1 divided by 22, which gives us 0.0454545. So we'll just take almost the same decimal places as this one. So we have 4, we'll just take 4 as well this side. Right, so we'll have 0.0455. Right, so what does this mean, great tens? It simply means that a rand in euros is 0.0625 and a rand in pounds it's 0.0455. Therefore, what does it mean? We know that coming back home, a rand is simply equal to another rand. So we'll just take a rand versus the euro. The rand versus the euro is simply 0.0625 euros. And then the rand versus the British pound, it is actually 0.0455. Right, it remains for us to convert between the euro and the pound. So we want to know how many euros are there in a pound. So we just divide this by 0.0625. We also divide this one by 0.0625 to give us the exchange rate between the two. And then we see that a euro is going to be equivalent to 0.0455 divided by 0.0625. Then that will give us 0.728 pounds. So it means 1 euro is equivalent to 0.728 pounds. And similarly, if you want to know now in terms of pounds, so you can just start right here. A euro 0.0625, and then that a pound 0.0455. In this case, you can divide by 0.0455. You do the same this side, 0.0455. So what does that give us now? It gives us the exchange rate, what is a pound in terms of euros. So this would be 0.0625 divided by 0.0455, giving us 1.373. So it means 1 British pound in euros is actually 1.373 euros. Right, great. Tens, that is just one easy way of calculating, or rather converting between two different currencies. So the idea here is to just write down your information, and then from your information you just check whether you are giving the rand to currency or currency to our rand. Then the idea is to make sure that you have our rand to a different currency, and then you divide. And then the idea remains here: 1 rand is equals to 1 rand. Then a rand in euros is this much, a rand in pounds is this much, and then you divide to get the ratio in the form 1 is to something. Right, returns, this is just one way of doing things. I hope you enjoyed the video. I will just stop here for today. If you have any questions or a particular question that you would like me to look at, please comment, and then I'll get back to you. It's goodbye for now till we see each other on the next one. Goodbye.